Yeah, welcome. I know we gave you a very short notice, but we are happy all of you are here. Please feel welcome. We want to make a statement regarding the ongoing recently, particularly resulting to a girl that was videoed with puppies sucking the breast. God forbid. Uh, Out of that, there has been a lot of outcry and a lot of allegations, and the latest being the one that was said yesterday from the women co-workers in parliament uh, from their leadership. And we agree with them as mothers and also as brothers and sisters. That video was outrageous. And whoever did that should be condemned, does not deserve to live as a human being, because that is totally inhuman. What worries us, that video was linked to us because as we stand here, we are standing here and I'm giving a statement as a recruiter, as a company that is involved in foreign migration, recruitment for employment overseas and local. Us as recruiters, as you see us here, we are not agents. The, the agencies was stopped by the government in 2012, and the government went through a whole procedure for about 6 years, and they came up with a regulatory body called National Employment Authority, simply known as NEA. I think most of you are aware that we have an organization, an authority called NEA. So NEA is our regulator. For you to take anybody through the airport abroad to work, you must be registered by NEA. To be registered by NEA, you must be a corporate company. So, and you must have a share capital of 5 million. So, and the whole process, the cost for the whole process is we estimate it at 2 million. So we are not agents, we are companies that is been given uh, that has been given authority by the government of Kenya to carry out foreign deployment. Now, what happens to us when you take somebody outside? There are procedures that we do, particularly where the outcry is domestic worker in Saudi Arabia. For us to take a girl to Saudi Arabia, that girl must be trained. That girl must have a passport. That girl must have a good conduct. That girl must go through medical procedure. Or that girl must go through what we call attestation by the Ministry of Labor. And now we are also doing attestation by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Before we buy, then that girl is taken to the embassy. After all that is done, that's when you take the document to the embassy, Saudi embassy, for stamping. Once you get the stamping, then we take the girl to the airport. Right now, other conditions have come, like vaccination and COVID test. When you go to the airport, we pass through several counters. We pass through the counter of vaccination, we pass through the counter ticketing, then you go the normal procedure by the customs. So tell me, if you are trafficking a human being, can you pass through all those protocols in the airport until the girl get an aeroplane pass, board the aeroplane, and is received in Saudi? Is it possible? So it is not possible. So we are working with the government departments. We are working with government ministry. This procedure involves minimum 4 ministries. It involves Ministry of Labor through National Employment Authority. It involves Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It involves Ministry of Interior. It involves Ministry of Education. For a girl to be in Saudi Arabia. So there's no way a girl can easily get into Saudi Arabia without all those departments knowing. So from my statement from the word go, I said we are flabbergasted, but what came out in the media? But we were saddened but that enough investigation was not done by the public. Because if you look at that video, at the bottom of it, there's a site where it came from. and that site is pornographic. If you go to that site, it's pornographic. Now imagine parents whose children saw that video and was shocked the way you and me were shocked. Then they went to that site, and what they met was pornographic. It's a very sad thing. So I want to advise our leadership, particularly the ladies that gave the press, that I wish they had done their investigation on that particular site. And more so, the Court General, Secretary General, should have gone to that site before coming public. So, but because the whole thing is outside there, we need to clear the air. Now, I want us to understand the Court Secretary General has been the Secretary General for Court for over 20 years. Every year, we have 800,000 KCP candidates leaving school. We have about 600,000 KCSE candidates leaving school. We have about 80,000 graduates leaving universities. This has been happening. This has been happening ever since, for almost like 20 years. What alternative has Mr. Atwoli offered young people to get a livelihood? Because if you are genuine about Kenyans, you should have at least opened at a vet college to train some artisan. Do you have any college belonging to Kotu that takes care of young people leaving educational centers, either secondary, tertiary colleges, or universities? I've not seen one. The leaders that were talking, I sympathize with them because they were passionate. These girls, a girl from Kwale that got pregnant at the age of 14, and by the age of 20, she had 3 kids. And the young man, the father of the kids, is nowhere to be seen. She's 20 years. If God give her life, she'll live up to 80 years. How is their life going to be? So we should appreciate the government of Saudi Arabia for giving us a platform where our girls at least can go and get a livelihood. I want to end, but I want to end in this note because there are other colleagues of mine who need to give a statement. We have 200,000 girls working in Saudi Arabia as I speak to you now. 200,000 girls working in Saudi Arabia. I want you to work by calculation. Work 10% of 200,000, you get 2,000. Sorry, you get 10%, you get 20,000. Work out 1% of 200,000, you get 2,000. Work out 0.1%, you get 200. The cases that we have they reached 200? Have they reached 200, ladies and gentlemen? They have not reached 200. That is 0.1%. What happens to 99.9%? The ones who are in Saudi Arabia. Are they not working? Are they not bringing revenue to the country? Are they not supporting their family? Yeah. Are they not changing the lives of their family? This is what we're supposed to look at. Yes, there's a problem in Saudi, but the problem can be solved. The problem can be solved. And we've written solutions to the right authority. We've told them we work with the companies. When a girl comes from my company to a company in Saudi Arabia, that company that I'm taking my girl can employ a Kenyan girl to manage the welfare of all the Kenyan girls that come through their offices. We have told the government we can also have safe houses in the major cities and in the major sections of Saudi, where if a girl is distressed, they can go to these safe houses and they can be helped through the Kenyan embassy. So we have solutions to this problem. And the Saudi Arabia is giving us a platform, economic platform, to help our girls. Because right now, where would we be? So I think We should not be passionate, so much passionate about the going on that is going around the media. We should also look at the other side of the coin. The media houses that are present here, I've seen it in Nation TV, I've seen it in Citizen and other media houses. When a girl is distressed and is right here in Kenya, and you call that girl or those girls to the station, or Haki Africa brings some girls to the station, these girls, before you bring them, they were taken to Saudi Arabia by a company that is registered. Why don't you call the directors of those companies also to be a part of your panel? If you don't want to call the members, them, us, any one of us, or don't want to call our leadership, why don't you call that company that took that girl to Saudi Arabia to be part of that? This industry is regulated by the government. And you know the work of a government is to facilitate, they are not players. There's no government in the world who is a player in an industry. They just facilitate. So our government has facilitated and have given us a platform for us to be players, for you to be a player. They know because they're the facilitators. Why don't you call somebody in your studio when you're interviewing those guys from National Employment Authority? Why don't you call somebody from labor to be there? Why do you always see just the girls who are distressed? Why don't you call somebody from Foreign Affairs to be there? Why don't you call somebody from the Ministry of Education to be there? Why don't you call somebody from the Ministry of Interior to be there? To also respond to the allegations being said, because we are misleading Kenyans and we are spoiling an opportunity that is glowing. Right now, there's a country that's already grabbed, they've signed a bilateral agreement with Saudi Arabia. They will drop Kenya like a hot bar, a hot metal. And when Kenya is dropped as a hot metal, the population of the gangs is over 200,000, the population of the other workers is over 200,000.